Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on Martial Politics. Today I will be listing out a 2024 Republican presidential candidates tier chart. This template was created by Red Eagle Politics. I'll give you a link to the template in the description if you want to use it. Anyways, I'm just gonna get this started. So the first one we have here is Steve Bannon for some reason. Steve Bannon was just like some random strategist for Trump's campaign in 2016. I don't think he should be, president of the United States. He's kind of a grifter. I don't know. Probably F tier. I mean, like Steve Bannon, president of the United States. Imagine. Dan Bongino. I think he was like nominated for House seats like 3 or 4 times. He lost every time, obviously. Now he's just like traditional conservative garbage. Okay, that's obviously F tier. Candace Owens, obvious mega grifter. I think most people know that. She's not an intellectual. I don't know why people call her that. She's really just like generic conservatism at the end of the day. It's complete nonsense. F tier, obviously. She also has no experience in office at all. Doesn't really believe in anything. She's a grifter. Okay, next is Charlie Baker, the governor of Massachusetts. Now this guy is a big, liberal Republican. He's left-wing on social issues. He's modern economic issues. F tier. I don't think I need to explain that much. Condoleezza Rice. I don't think I need to explain this. Obvious F tier. Also, by the way, with the tier charts, like in like the order they are, it's not like relative or anything. Like Dan Bongino's slightly better than Candace Owens or whatever. They're just all in the F tier. No one's better than the other one. Oh my god. Dan Crenshaw, the Texas congressman. Warhawk, he literally supports worse gun regulation laws than most Democrats. I mean, obvious F tier. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. This is kind of a surprise to see him here. I haven't really heard much about him. I read his Wikipedia page before. It said like he had like a populist radio show, but it looks like he just supports like generic conservatism. He's not like, he doesn't have a magnetic personality. He doesn't have that name recognition. I think he belongs in D tier. Eric Trump. I think Eric is like more like, I think he's like slightly more intelligent than Don Jr. I don't think he's not as politically ambitious. I really don't think that. I don't know. He's not really president, and I don't want to strengthen the Trumpists, so, that's like gone. Okay, Congressman Matt Gaetz. I think he's like 37 years old. Congressman from Florida. Only reason why he's even recognized is because he's a massive Trump sycophant. Obvious F tier. Governor Greg Abbott of the great state of Texas. He's obviously the governor of the second largest state in the country in terms of population. He's like a generic conservatism, he's not that widely recognized. He doesn't have like, I don't really see like people I don't see people like, oh, I'm voting for Greg Abbott for president. I really don't see that happening. I think he belongs in D tier along with his lieutenant governor. Next is South Carolina governor, former ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley. I don't think I need to explain this. She's absolutely terrible. I covered in a recent video about people who support her, and they support fiscal conservatism. It's just, I'm sorry, not social conservatism. Fiscal conservatism. That's what I meant. Sorry. She's absolutely terrible. I really don't think I need to go in that in depth to explain this. Next is Maryland governor, Larry Hogan. He's similar to Charlie Baker. I don't think I need to go any deeper than that. He's pro-choice on abortion. He's pretty terrible. So, F tier. Next is Ivanka Trump, who is one of the most blatant political opportunities I've ever seen. She obviously wants to hold political office. She doesn't really care for, like, actual people. She just wants to use her family name. Obvious F tier. Next is Missouri Senator Josh Hawley. Now, Josh Hawley, he's like, the supposed populist in Congress. The only problem I have with Josh is that he's really ruined his like, populist shtick, voting for right to work laws and supporting the 2017 Republican tax bill. So I would put him in, I don't know. He could honestly be an A or B tier. I think A tier. I think he's decent. He could do well at a presidential level. It just depends on the campaign. He's not like the most charismatic. He's not the most charismatic. He's young, so that could be an advantage actually, depending on if like Joe Biden is running for re-election. But yeah, I think he'd be a solid like A tier candidate. Next is former Vice President Mike Pence. Mike Pence is really just, people see him as like, there are actually people who think he's a populist. He's like garbage fiscal conservatism, very serious zealot. Not that I like, I support religion. I'm a baptized Catholic, but I think he really takes it really on a whole nother level. Like, I feel like he actually believes like God sent him to be president or something. But yeah, I think that he belongs. I think in C tier. He could actually do kind of well at a presidential level because he'd be able to get the Trump voters, so that'd be pretty useful. And I mean, he has some good views on social issues, of course. I support that. Next is the most overrated, currently the most overrated member of the Republican Party, Kristi Noem, who's the governor of South Dakota. South Dakota, if you don't know, has like one of the highest COVID-19 fatality rates, which is kind of insane, considering how like worthless this disease is, and especially in a state like South Dakota. I keep saying South Dakota, not South Carolina. She's just like, typical conservatism. She's fiscal conservatism. It's like, no. She's also a woman, so woman card. Nah, she goes in F tier. I mean, I think I think I could put her at the end of D tier, because at least she has like executive experience. At least she's not like Candace Owens or whatever. She actually has some experience. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Now, I don't really think I need to remind that many people, but Lindsey Graham has never met a war he doesn't like. He's an absolute swamp creature who detested Donald Trump's populist campaign in 2015, but Trump was a sellout, so he basically swept into his administration people who he ran against in 2015, 2016. Lindsey Graham, of course, fiscal conservatism, complete nonsense. Obviously, F tier. No one likes him. He would have no chance at winning a general election. He wouldn't even win a primary election. Next is current Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who ran for president in 2016. Oh, Lindsey Graham also did in 2016, but his campaign failed pretty early. Marco Rubio, he's a complete flip-flopper. Sorry if you didn't hear that. My audio, my microphone isn't really that good. But yeah, Marco Rubio is just a complete flip-flopper. He will do anything. He will say anything to get elected. He's well liked by Latinos in Florida. He could be very useful in winning Florida at the presidential scale. And he's a fraud, but I don't think he I don't think he belongs like all the way at the F tier, because at least he's not like a grifter like Candace Owens, or just like I don't know. This is kind of difficult actually. I can honestly see him being D or F tier. I mean, he has he He's pretended to be a populist. But the thing about politicians is that they're all frauds, and that's the thing I most detest. So, F tier. Next is the My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell, for some reason. That Mike Lindell is really, I don't even think it comes close. He's like the biggest Trump sycophant on the planet. Claims to have, all the evidence to the supposed rigged election or whatever. Complete Trump sycophant. I don't know any of his positions on issues. He's very Catholic, which, that's nice. I mean, he has good views on social issues. That's a plus. The problem is unless you count, business experience, executive experience, I don't know. I just don't really see him being, the guy in 2024. He's just, Trump sycophant. Has no business being in the Oval Office. F tier. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Oh my god. Okay, I don't really think he's the former chief director of the CIA. Complete neocon. I don't think that's hard to notice. He has close ties with Middle Eastern states. He's a very corrupt politician. He's not really a politician. I guess Washingtonian. He's pretty terrible. That's why he belongs in the F tier. Next is former Speaker of the House Paul Ryan, who completely torpedoed Trump's first term in office. He pressured Trump into putting all these terrible people in his cabinet. It's like, Trump doesn't really believe in anything, but if you put the right people in his cabinet, then he'll probably listen to them. So Paul Ryan was a big problem in that regard. He really flooded Trump's administration with terrible people, and he completely torpedoed Trump's first 2 years in office. I said first term, I meant first 2 years. Next is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. Now, Rand Paul has some good views on social issues. He has good views on foreign policy. The problem I have with Rand Paul is that he's right wing on economics. Now, in this case, that would basically, if that was just the case with him, then he'd obviously go in the F tier. But since he's pretty good on social issues, and he's very good on issues of war and freedom of speech, I think he's solid C tier. I would be pretty concerned of him as president, quite a bit. But I think he's definitely slightly better than these other people because I feel like he's one of the few politicians in Washington, D.C. that actually believes in something, which I admire. I don't really care what you believe. I like when people are authentic and they actually say what they want to say, and they're very truthful about it, and that's why I admire him for that. So I think that's solid C tier. Next is Utah Senator Mitt Romney. I don't think I really need to explain this. Mitt Romney would do absolutely terribly in 2024. He has the wrong point of view on every single issue imaginable except for social issues. I heard recently he had been he supported family credits, which is fascinating. I think that's really just to appeal to Democrats, and so that's really his future. He's trying to get TV spots on CNN, MSNBC, the typical. Solid F tier. I don't think he really believes in anything. He's just a dirty politician. Next is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who a lot of people are clamoring around recently. Now, I think I like Ron DeSantis. I think he actually would be a pretty decent president. The problem I have with him is his economic positions. He does lean to the right on economic issues, which is a red flag. Recently, he had set up a law, a bill to basically limit the power of big tech companies in Florida. That's essentially what it does. It protects Americans' individual rights, which is good. The problem I have is he supports free trade, which, if people watching know, free trade has completely ruined the American working class and the middle class. It's really just enriched the wealthy over the lower half of the population. So that's why I think he belongs in A tier with Josh Hawley. Maybe B tier. I don't know. I think he could be redeeming. And also I feel like Hawley, he might I feel like he'd cave on certain issues. I don't feel like he's particularly strong. I think Ron DeSantis is kind of I feel like he's kind of more sincere, as much as a politician can be sincere. Next is Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse. Ben Sasse is complete garbage. I don't need to explain this. Obviously, F tier, similar to Lindsey Graham, Mitt Romney. Next is Senator Rick Scott, who I like to very funnily call Dick Rot. He is the current junior senator from Florida. He's a complete fiscal con. I don't think I really need to explain this. He has no chance of winning a presidential election. He's rich. I don't think he just wants to do it because, he has money, wants power. F tier. Next is Scott Walker. He's, typical establishment Republican former governor of Wisconsin. He lost re-election in 2018 to the current governor right now. I think he belongs in the F tier. I don't think I need to explain that. He's really a cuck. I don't think he has a chance of winning a national election. Next is Texas Senator Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz, he's been trying to do his fake populist tap dance, and he's a fraud like Marco Rubio, so obvious F tier. Next is South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who is very similar to Lindsey Graham. SJW on certain issues. He's pretty terrible, and I think that's why he belongs in F tier. Next is Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton. Now, Tom Cotton, he actually has some decent views on domestic policies, but on foreign policy, he's absolutely terrible. War interventionist, it's not good. As far as I know, he's not the most. He's kind of more moderate on economics, which is kind of surprising. I think he belongs a solid D tier. I think maybe he'd probably be ahead of Noam. He could be C tier. I would not want him as as the Republican nominee. Next is former President Donald Trump. Was obviously the previous president. Now, I've already explained my opinions about Trump, so I don't really see the point of going really in depth into this. But I think Trump is C tier since he did win. He wasn't born in flipping Midwestern states in 2016. Maybe B tier. I don't know. As a candidate, in terms of winning election, he could win, but I think the American public is kind of just done with him. So I think he's pretty much on C tier. Next is Donald Trump Jr. Same thing with Eric Trump. Obviously F tier. Next is Fox News host Tucker Carlson. I really like Tucker Carlson. I watch his show pretty often. In fact, I think it's actually going on right now while I'm recording this video. He'd be very, he's out of all these candidates, he's the most populist leaning. He has a really unique following, and I think he could do really well online in an online campaign. He also would have the outsider bonus if if you have Joe Biden or Kamala Harris as the nominee, which is 99% that happens. But yeah, I think he'd be a pretty good candidate. I think he could win. To be honest, I could see Tucker Carlson either doing really badly or really well. It just really depends on the environment of the campaign in 2024, and it really depends on what kind of message he runs on. If he really runs on a very populist campaign, he could easily take away tons of Democratic voters away from Kamala Harris and or Joe Biden. He's really, he's kind of like a one of a kind, honestly. There's not many people, there's no one in the media that's like him. It's actually kind of intriguing. But yeah, I think this is obvious S tier candidate. He's a pretty good candidate. The problem I have with him is obviously he's never served in public office before, but I think out of all these candidates, I really want to see Tucker Carlson be the Republican nominee in 2024. Anyways, last is Representative Will Hurd, I believe his name is. He's a congressman from Texas. I don't know that much about him. He seems like, he kind of seems, he's like more, I guess, liberal Republican. I don't really know. I guess I'll put him in D tier because I can't make a concise judgment on him. He's like the only person I don't know on this entire list. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. Looks like this video was kind of long, but much shorter than my previous recording. Anyways, like and subscribe for more. You can always, comment, share the video. That'd be pretty useful. And if you have any objections, just post them in the comments down below, or you can direct message me on Twitter. I'll link that in the description as well. Anyways, thank you again, and of course, have an excellent day.